Why the S-400 missile is highly effective if used correctly. Modern long-range surface-to-air missile systems provide some of the most effective air defense in existence. However, extended-range SAMs are also inherently vulnerable to standoff and saturation attacks if not properly supported. Ultimately, the effectiveness of long-range SAMs depends on the country where they are deployed and how that country uses them. Russian surface-to-air missiles, SAMs, continue to dominate the headlines. The country's long-range S-400 SAM systems recently made landfall in Turkey, much of the consideration of the West, while its older S-300 variants have been exported to a variety of countries, including Syria. Public discussions persist over whether Gulf states should buy long-range Russian air defense platforms as opposed to American ones, or whether Iran could acquire S-400s to bolster its air defenses. Given the system's power, it's no wonder that such sales are dominating the news. But the reality remains that the value of long-range SAMs does not directly equal their theoretical capabilities, depending far more on who is using the system and how. Long-range SAM systems, including the Russian S-300 and S-400, are profoundly capable weapons. The Russian S-400 is arguably one of the best all-around strategic SAM systems in operation today. And there is an even better replacement in development in the form of the S-500. Particular strengths of the S-300 and the follow-on S-400 series are their extended reach, their flexible ability to strike at different targets, primarily aircraft but also cruise and ballistic missiles to a degree, and their sophisticated sensors, which Russia claims include some anti-stealth capability. In the hands of competent and well-trained crews, modern long-range SAMs such as the S-400 can inflict significant damage on an adversary. Their ranges allow them to target key enemy enabler aircraft such as valuable aerial refueling tankers and airborne early warning and control aircraft. Their flexible targeting capabilities mean they can defend against multiple different types of threats and attacks, and their, albeit limited anti-stealth capabilities, offer the potential to bring down some of the best combat aircraft currently in operation. The limitations of the SAM capabilities. Yet, even with these impressive theoretical capabilities, the modern long-range SAMs such as the S-400 are only as good as the context within which they exist. That is, the systems can be more or less effective depending on the type of adversary they face. An S-400, for instance, could be a formidable threat to a limited enemy incursion, but even a full S-400 battalion only has around 8 missile launchers, typically with 4 missiles each. 32 missiles are certainly enough to cause serious harm to a limited attack, but if an S-400 battalion is acting in isolation or is not backed up by other modern air defenses, it is likely it won't have enough missiles to withstand a determined onslaught. This is especially true if the Middle East, where numerous customers deploy expensive systems in batteries rather than battalions, a battery being the smallest unit composition, meaning they might not only have 16 tall missiles at the ready. And, despite their impressive theoretical reach, the advanced Russian 406E missile has a supposed range of 400 kilometers or 250 miles. Long-range SAMs like the S-400 are still vulnerable to standoff missile attacks. Furthermore, geographical factors weigh heavily on a system's usefulness, with mountains features and being able to block systems' sensors. A low-flying target can take advantage of geographical features and the curvature of the Earth to avoid an S-400 interception for far longer than a high-flying target. So against a low-flying cruise missile, an S-400 will more likely find success at a distance in the tens of kilometers rather than in the hundreds. Ultimately, an isolated S-400 battery or even battalion will therefore be vulnerable to a saturation standoff attack and may even be destroyed without destroying a single enemy aircraft. Ultimately, long-range SAMs like the S-400 are no miracle weapons. Even the most effective IADs is liable to be overwhelmed if under constant attack without reinforcement. But, if properly supported, they can certainly play a decisive role, especially against more limited attacks.
Here are, in a retrospective, the public activities of the Russian S-400 Air Defense Systems battalions in 2020. Their reaction time has increased considerably